Hello, this is Vince, and this is Monday, November the 6th, 2017. These are CL trades for today using the slow hand method for price action. Okay, had a pretty big day today, pretty big gainer. Couple of reasons for it. Won't get into a real great deal of detail, but suffice to say that because of the geopolitical nature of crude oil, prices moved higher with the issues that occurred in Saudi Arabia. So what that points to is that if there's unrest in the Middle East, then that might lead to higher oil prices, particularly since Saudi Arabia is the largest exporter of crude oil in the world, which is pretty significant. So that's what really drove prices higher. Whether or not these issues were really carrying on you have to say that over the course of this is the news that broke today. But I would have to say that over the last few days, this was issue. That's why prices were trending somewhat higher, despite the fact that they are at a low price and they were moving up. So that's what happened during the rest of the day. Now, let's get back to just talking about today. When I was talking about today, and I came on this morning, if you've seen that other video, you notice that right at 9 o'clock, I was talking about this being a fairly tight range, roughly just over 50, a little bit more than 15 ticks. And I was looking at what would happen right at 9 o'clock. I was on here probably just before 9 o'clock, posted the video and so forth. So I did a couple of things. This is the 30 tick line here. That's what this is. So you can see that this rotation, this was just prior to the open. This is really at 9 o'clock right here. Price moved up and then broke down. And you can see that this breakdown happened. I was talking about whether prices were going to, and I'll just kind of draw on this thing, whether prices were going to move up to here. Oops, let me just change that. Whether prices were going to, price was going to trend up from this area. Like I was looking at, I was talking about this being a low in this area, like area of support. Price either going to head up here and test this area here, and I said this was an area of support. Now, what did happen, now I'm not eliminating this completely, what happened really at those is that we had this breakdown really right at 9 o'clock. And so you're looking at 9:04. This is 9:04. You can see that the time is right here, 9:04. Price right at the open, 3 minutes, breaks down, and then it turns over. So we have basically price comes down, moves its way up, comes back down again, moves its way up, and then so you're looking at maybe a secondary area of support right here to look at going, in my opinion, going long. Or you're looking at maybe follow through, taking it lower. Now, we don't know the news coming out of Saudi Arabia. Don't know that at this point in time. But my thought was, more than anything else, is that if price is migrating here for most of the overnight, prices tend to be higher. This is probably just a kind of a flush out of trying to get sellers out of the market, get better price. I mean, if I was in a position of authority, let's say if I had a big account, I might do the same thing. Get about a flush of orders that go in there in the short term to get pricing at a better price. Maybe that's what would occur. I don't know. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's what I might do. The point is that price really kind of solidified down at this area, just below the low of the day. And if you look at the 15-tick stop box, anytime you got in here, see, this was the first one. You can see this is the second entry long right here. Price kind of rotated down and getting in at anywhere at this area. Let's say it's 79. I did get in at 79, by the way. It took a little bit of heat for it. It didn't take my stop out, as long as my stop was at 15 ticks. And then it moved up in the other direction. Now, for the rest of the day, well, it just took off. I mean, what you're looking at, and you're looking at it from here, is that price moved its way up, it peaked out at just 57.30, just over 57.30, and then kind of rotated back down. So any of these areas, I mean, you have to look at this as a strong trend. You see, this is an area right here where price is going to migrate up, and of course, it took a while. So this is 9 o'clock. This is 9 o'clock right here. This is 10 o'clock. This is 11 o'clock, but price is just moving its way up. And then really at about 11, just after 11 a.m., price moved up dramatically. I guess when the news broke, kind of finds us a little bit of support right here. Attempts to come back down, cannot, moves even higher. So you can see that, the trend was up all the way. This is certainly a combination of a news-driven event, more so than when prices really move like that. People being left on the on the sidelines, and buyers came in fairly strongly for most of the day. Did hesitate maybe toward the end of the day, but again, it kind of rotated back up, 57.60, came back, and now this is where we are right now. So, I mean, I'm not going to go into the details looking at second entry longs. Just take my word for it. For today, you really needed to be on the buy side. That was really the case. And if you're fortunate to get in down here, like low, like I was talking about, you'd have been pretty decent shape. Now I know it might be hard for C. I mean, certainly this breakdown here, especially if you get a little bit nervous, but with this breakdown that happened right at 9 o'clock, there wasn't any follow through. Price is kind of rotating around here. And if you look at the overnight, let me just show this a little bit. Now, this morning I mentioned that the overnight low was 55.76. It wasn't. It's 55.68. But I kind of pointed it out on this sheet here that, here's the low of the day here. This was these are low areas right here, kind of a bounce. This is at 9 o'clock, but it turned around, broke down through here. But right away, it really kind of bounced its way back up. And this is something else that's significant. I didn't mention that. This is 904. Okay, 903 comes down to here. And this area right here, it was kind of turning over for almost 50 minutes. Like we're looking at 903 to, this is 10 o'clock right here. This is 10 o'clock. So by the time prices really broke out, it was really in a 15 tick to 30 tick range. Let's say 15 tick for almost an hour before it found support and heading higher. So ideally, you have to think that what's happening in that period of time. If you look at it on a scale, you have to look at it from the perspective of even a volume profile, is that there are buyers and sellers. One of two things is going to happen. Either it's going to break higher or it's going to break lower. And as I've said in the past, I mean, my bias was really to the upside, particularly when you look at volume profile, you'll see that there's a lot of area right here, like, price is going to be above like this $56 mark. So once it broke through $56, it was off to the races. And, you can't really predict that it's going to go up that high. I mean, I certainly didn't, but I mean, just as long as you're on the right side of the trade is the important thing. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward, not a lot of trades. I mean, you could say that if you're really watching it, I wasn't. I mean, once you got on that thing, it was fine. I was kind of finished kind of early and, didn't catch the whole move, but got a piece of it anyway. So I was fortunate in that regard. And that's pretty much it. So hope you find some use out of this. If you have any questions, please, let me know. Drop me a line, and I'll go from there. I'm going to try to get back onto the stream of things. I'll have some more announcements coming out later on this week. And this is Vance. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.